Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is a very special edition of Movie Talk. Today is Easter, and because of that, I'm going to be talking about a classic Easter movie, The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town. This movie was made by Rankin Bass Production, who brought such wonderful other holiday movies such as Peter Cottontail, the first Easter Rabbit, as well as some Christmas classics as Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Nestor the Long-Eared Easter Bunny, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I will cover those three movies in December. They also brought such wonderful TV shows as the Thundercats and the Silverhawks, and yes, I will be talking about those two shows in TV Talk, so be patient. This movie was made in April 6th of 1977. So it is a very old movie. It is a 40-year-old movie as of a couple of weeks ago. And it tells the story of Sunny, an adorable little white rabbit played by Skip Hennett, who becomes the Easter Bunny. And this movie is actually narrated by Fred Astaire, who also narrates Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but I will talk about that in December, as I said. And he plays S.D. Clinker, I believe is how you say the last name, who is a mailman. And the other voice talents losing my train of thought here. Sunny It lives in this adorable little town called Kidville, and if you can't guess by the name, Kidville is populated by children. And 1 year after Sunny comes to Kidville, he decides that they need to export some of the goods that they make, that they have, to the outside world to get in things that they need. And one of the things Kidville is very well known for are their eggs, because of the 3 chicken sisters that they have there. And I cannot remember the chicken sisters' names. I think it was like the Henshaw sisters, I believe is what they were called. So Sunny decides to take these boiled eggs to over Big Rock Mountain, past a giant bear by the name of Gadzooks. And along the way, he meets a hobo by the name of Hallelujah Jones, who is played by Ron Marshall. And he informs Sunny of this little town on the other side of Big Rock Mountain. That's called Town. It's simply called Town. Which is ruled over by King Bruce, who is played by James Spires. And he's the only child in the whole town. It's made up mostly of, actually exclusively, with the exception of him, of adults. And while he is the king of town, literally the king of town, it is really his aunt, Lady Lily Longtooth, who is played by Meg Sargent, who runs the town, and she doesn't want any children there. Anytime a child is born into a family, the family has to leave. And she doesn't want them to wear bright clothes, so they have to dress very drably. And she doesn't want them to eat anything but beans. And I don't mean like baked beans, I mean like green beans. So Sunny comes in and he upsets Lady Lily's apple cart, so to speak. Because he comes in with these bright colorful eggs and Easter clothes and jelly beans and chocolate bunnies and stuffed animals, and just every year she lays a trap to try and stop him, and every year he somehow avoids it, and with the help of his friends, and gets into town. And everyone else in town, King Bruce, the townspeople, even Lady Lily's guards, love all the stuff that he's bringing. And when she finally thinks that she is going to get him by preventing Gadzooks, who becomes friends with Sunny and the Kidville kids near the middle of the movie, by incapacitating him, and stopping him from helping them bring all this stuff, because they had like so much stuff they needed his help, to get over the mountain, they come up with a new plan, and they build a railroad from Kidville to town over Big Rock Mountain. And there's a cute little song while the town's being built called Big Rock Candy Mountain, and maybe you remember it from when you were a kid. And they hire a little engine by the name of Chugs, who is played by Bob McFadden. And Chugs is actually the little engine from The Little Engine That Could, which I thought was a really nice and really sweet addition to this movie, because what child hasn't read The Little Engine That Could? And it's just a cute little addition to the movie. I mean, they didn't have to do it, but they did it. And so it was, and he gets everything over, and of course the movie ends on a happy note, as all holiday movies do. Don't want to give away too much. But this movie is definitely a classic Easter movie. It has been around, like I said, it's been around for 40 years this year. It just celebrated its 40th anniversary 2 weeks ago. Well, actually, a little over 2 weeks ago. So, and it's still really well liked. So it is definitely a classic. It is a holiday classic. And it is just so cute and so adorable. And one of the things I love about this movie is that when I watch it, I haven't seen it in a few years until I found it this year, in the holiday DVD bin at work, and I was like, I have to get this movie, because I remember this movie from when I was a kid, and I thought, if anything, it's something to put on in case it's like a rainy Easter Sunday for the kids to watch. Not my kids, but my little cousins to watch. When I originally bought this movie, and I thought, I just want to sit down and watch this, because I do remember this from a kid and I haven't seen it in a while. Let me just sit down and watch this at least once, just to say that, I've watched it. And I sat down and watched it, and as I'm watching this movie, it's taking me back to when I was a little girl and celebrating Easter with my family, and I was just like, holy cow. I mean, I can name a handful of movies that actually do that. Most of them are Christmas movies. There are a few regular movies, but I can name a handful of movies that actually do this. Like I said, one was, the majority of them are Christmas movies, because Christmas movies, that's like the magic of Christmas movies, they do that. Another one that does that is the original My Little Pony movie, not the Equestria Girls movies, but the original one. That takes me back to when I was a little girl in elementary school, just playing with ponies. So, so I'm watching this, I'm thinking, holy fudge, this movie just takes me back to when I was a kid, waking up Easter Sunday with my sister, going down to the living room and seeing on the end tables, because we had end tables, we didn't have coffee tables, we didn't have a coffee table, and seeing where we had placed these empty Easter baskets from the previous year, Easter baskets that are full of jelly beans and marshmallow peeps and chocolate Easter eggs and chocolate Easter bunnies and little toys, just sitting there in their place, and the plate that we had the carrots for the Easter bunny just nibbled down to little nubs, and it's like, it just takes me back to that time. And then going to Grandma's house in, just a pastel colored dress with ruffles and lace and frill on it, and, white Easter bonnet with a ribbon that matched the dress, and, getting dressed up in these, and going to Grandma's house and playing with my cousins and having Easter dinner and going on an Easter egg hunt for Easter eggs filled with jelly beans and money. It's just took me, and when I say money, I mean like dimes, quarters, just small change, really. But to a kid, dimes and quarters is a lot, so, that's what makes it fun. But it just takes me back to that time period. It's like, holy fudge, any movie that can do that is just, even a holiday movie is just like great. And I love it. I love movies that take me back to my childhood. And there are some, like I said, there are some, it's mostly holiday movies that do that, but there are some other movies that will do that. I said My Little Ponies was one of the My Little Ponies the movie was one of them. Another one is Flight of Dragons that always takes me back to my childhood, to when my sister and I were little girls, and we used to pretend that Gorbash and Smeargle lived in our backyard. And The Last Unicorn, where I mean, there were some scary moments in The Last Unicorn, and there were some scary moments in The Flight of Dragons. I'm trying to think what was the other movie. But all in all, it's like I sit down and I watch those movies, and it just takes me back to when I was a little girl. And it's like, any movie that does that is a really good movie, in my opinion. And there are very few movies that do that. I mean, even Disney movies, they don't really take me back to that time period, because in my opinion, Disney movies are for everyone. They're you don't really see a Disney movie rated much above PG-13. I don't even think you really see a Disney movie rated above PG. I could be wrong. I think some of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are actually rated PG-13. But on the most part, the most Disney movies are rated are PG, so they are really, in my opinion, more family movies. It is a family-oriented company. But, yeah, anyways, so this is really a great movie in terms of that it takes me back to when I was a little girl, which, like I said, major bonus points for that. And it's just, I can't, like, there's all these things I could say about it, but I just can't find the words to say about it. It's not because it's a bad movie, because it's just so good, and it's just so cute and so adorable. And it is an animated movie, but it's not an animated movie in the traditional sense where it's flat screen animation. It's stop motion animated, which is what they did for 3D animations before they had computer animations. So it's just, oh my god, it's just an adorable little movie. Just so cute. Seriously, if you haven't seen this movie ever, and you find it, get it, sit down and watch it. If you haven't seen it in a couple of years, sit down and watch it. It's just, I don't care if you have kids or not, just sit down and watch it. It's just, it's an adorable little movie. I mean, over a month, like almost a month ago, I was not feeling good, and I was like just sitting, it was like the day after St. Patrick's Day, and I was just downstairs watching Easter movies, because, it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. I can officially start watching my Easter movies. And I'm watching this, and my mom and dad are kind of coming in and out. My dad actually sits down, and he's watching this movie with me, and I'm just thinking, is he being transported back to when he was a kid and watching this movie? Or, even back to when I was a kid and he would watch these movies, and he and my mom would watch these movies with me. And it's just, any movie that can do that, it's just, like I said, it's just an amazing movie, just amazingly well written, amazingly well executed, and it's just, oh my god, I can't think of anything else to say about it. It's an amazing movie. It's an adorable little Easter movie, and it's just so cute and so adorable, and I highly recommend watching this movie. Any of the Rankin Bass holiday movies, there are quite a few of them. I highly recommend watching those. And they are just, it's just like the cutest little Easter movie. And I can't say anything else about that, so I'm just going to start wrapping up this movie, special edition movie talk video. My next one will be on May 1st. For those of you who are not aware, that is Star Wars Day. So it will be a Star Wars video. I'm going to say right up front now, I will probably jabberjaw a lot on that video, because I am a huge Star Wars junkie. I am a family Star Wars junkie. So I'm apologizing right now if I talk too much, and I will apologize at the beginning of that video, that I might talk a lot in that. So, I mean, if you're not a big Star Wars fan, I apologize. If you are a Star Wars fan, be prepared to get an earful from me, not because I'm going to be harping on it, just because I'm going to be jabberjawing a lot on it. Feel free to leave your opinions and questions in the comment section. I love to read those. And I will see you next time. And have a very happy Easter.